as our next destination to our portfolio. So as you know, if you've joined us before, you'll know the running order of our luxury showcases. We give you a little bit of an if only update. And then we've got 3 incredible suppliers with us tonight to give us a full overview of the products available over in South Africa. And of course, our famous Ask the Expert session, which will be just after I give you an update from If Only. Don't forget that we have our chat box available for any questions that you might want to ask us. We are going to promise to get back to everybody when we can. If we can answer it tonight, we absolutely will. But if there's something that we need to check, we'll be taking that question and we'll come back to you on a one-to-one basis. So let's kick the evening off with our If Only update. So this evening you're joined by myself and the lovely Vicky Edwards. This is Vicky's 5th or 6th week with us. She's my chief clicker tonight, so she is controlling the entire presentation. We are very excited that our sales team is growing. The lovely Gemma can't join us this evening, but you've probably all met her and seen her on plenty of our webinars. When we're not around, we've got the lovely Denise in our trade support, and we're excited to announce we will have a new joiner in a couple of weeks. So watch this space. There'll be another one to the sales team. However, the next slide, these are the most important people to our business. These are our experts. These are the guys that you're ringing and speaking to on a daily basis for every inquiry that you've got. And they are the true experts when it comes to everything at If Only. They'll make the greatest recommendations. They'll help you with your tailor-made inquiries. Whether it's a beach, they'll absolutely be able to do that for you. Now, can I just remind everybody, if you're not already, can you pop yourself on mute? That would be great, just so we don't get any feedback. So this evening is all about South Africa, and this goes on sale with If Only on the 28th of November. So please don't try and ring us until the 28th of November because we're not ready till then, but it will be on sale on that date. And I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview of what we're going to be offering at South Africa. So as you can see, always like a little map. So this, if you didn't know, is where South Africa is located. Next slide, thank you. So from an If Only perspective, we're very excited for this launch. We are going to be offering everything from Cape Town to the Winelands, the Eastern Cape, Kruger, Greater Kruger National Park. I didn't know that they were 2 very different, but our expert will go through it. We've got Johannesburg, KwaZulu-Natal, Makadai, and again, apologise if I'm saying any of this incorrect. And we're also going to be doing the garden route, luxury rail travel, and one that I haven't added on here, but we will be looking at a small amount of cruise and stay inquiries for you as well. Next slide, Vicky. So just a few facts about South Africa. So the currency is the South African rand, if you didn't know this. The flight time and the time zone, so they're 2 hours in front, and it takes approximately 11.5 hours to fly from London. Now, the destination is known for being a year-round destination. Obviously, the animals, the bird life, the Big 5 safari, marine experiences. I would love to go diving with great white sharks off the coast of South Africa. So that's on my bucket list. It's all about adrenaline, peaceful escapes, beautiful beaches, winelands, and we've all just alluded to the fact that we could have really done with a glass of South African wine with us this evening. Yes. World-class dining, cultural appreciation, and it's amazing value for money. And that's a really important part about going to South Africa. It's great value for money. And Gemma, who's not with us this evening, she was there only a few weeks ago, and she can't wait to share a little bit more about her personal experience with you all in the future. So, who goes to South Africa? Well, it's fantastic for honeymooners, adrenaline junkies, animal lovers. It's photography, and it's multi-generational families. We have a lot of families that will travel to South Africa, and there's so much on offer. And I just wanted to talk about kind of what to pack. So from November to March, you should really prepare for warmer weather. So it's now the summer in South Africa. So as we're sitting here in the UK, I don't know what your weather's like, but it's freezing. It's chucking it down with rain. We've got the lovely Mary from Mount Nelson. She's on with us this evening. She's in South Africa. She's got a tan. It's really warm. It's not great. We're here freezing. Now, in April to October, the evenings can be much cooler. So we definitely say to make sure that you kind of take layers with you. And also a big reminder that you should check with healthcare professionals for vaccination recommendations, because there might be some regions within South Africa you're traveling to that may require anti-malaria medication. So again, it's worth just keeping note of that whenever you're selling South Africa to your clients. Next slide. So what are we doing when it comes to South Africa? Well, if only, we've added over 50 hotels to our portfolio. We've got exciting day tours and excursions. We've got fantastic touring itineraries. And our programme is going to feature 4- and 5-star accommodation. And this will range from well-known favourites to a selection of unique boutique, as well as lots of family properties. And we're going to have a real strong focus on conservation, ensuring our team, when you're calling us, our experts, can create that perfect holiday for your clients. So if you've never been to South Africa before, or it's a new destination you're selling to a client, ring us. Let us take you through that process. Let us tell you about the incredible options that we can offer to your clients. Next slide.
You just let the guys in the waiting room. There's just a few in the waiting room.
Oh, no problem. See, there's not enough of us tonight, Vicky. We could have done with a lot more. There we go. So on to the next slide. So I just wanted to remind you again that we're on sale from the 28th of November. Now, for everyone that's joining us this evening, there is going to be an interactive quiz at the end, and we have got some incredible prizes to give away on that. But I wanted to just nod to the fact that the first booking with If Only to South Africa is going to win an incredible prize. So we've got Nigel with us this evening. He's going to take you through this product and you're going to absolutely love it. You're going to love it that much that you're going to put your first South Africa booking with us on the 28th of November, and you will then win 6 nights in South Africa staying at the following properties. So 2 nights at the Chicha Twitcher. I think I'm saying that right. Nigel will tell me off. 2 nights at the Fugitives Drift and 2 nights at the Fairview House. So you're going to be full board in the first 2 properties and bed and breakfast in the next one. And these are incredible properties and you will absolutely love them. So that should nearly be about the South Africa section. So I just wanted to remind you that every time you book with If Only, we love to reward you, whether that's through our My Loyalty card. If you haven't got one, please log on and get one. Or it's through our incentives as winning stays at Royal Atlantis, winning vouchers in the Maldives, spa breaks, love to shop vouchers. And the best thing about all of our incentives is their automatic entry. And the great thing that me and Vicky and Gemma get to do is when someone wins, we get to ring you and you're like, oh, I didn't even know, I didn't even enter, because we do it on an automatic entry. On to the next slide. So hopefully you've all part of our If Only Partners Facebook group. That's probably where you heard about our South Africa showcase. We will be popping the recording on there following this session. So if you want to let any of your colleagues know, you really enjoyed the evening, maybe it's worthwhile them rewatching it back, learning about South Africa, it will all be on the Facebook group. We've also got our If Only agent website. So as soon as South Africa go live, we'll have offers on here that you'll be able to share with your customers. We'll be adding imagery videos into our Dropbox so you can again share some great marketing and some great inspirational pieces. Don't forget that we've got TripAdvisor reviews, Google Mapping now on this site, and it's got everything that you're ever going to need to know about If Only. And why book with us? So we are 100% trade only. We have 21 years of luxury knowledge. It's industry leading commission, and we actually pay that on the tax and the surcharges. We have got a dedicated sales team and we are growing, which is incredible. Our staff knowledge is second to none. We offer a wide range of packages. We've got resort presence in Barbados, Antigua, Mauritius. We will look at out-of-date range pricing and we'll guarantee special requests where possible as well. And if you're inspired this evening and you're ready for your next inquiry, this is just a reminder. This is our reservations number. You can also send us email inquiries to beach.sales and tailormade.sales. Our after sales team are always available as well. And we do have a WhatsApp group for offers. So we don't bombard you at the moment with offers on the WhatsApp group. I'm sure as we are approaching peaks, we'll be sending you more and more. If you would like to know more information about the WhatsApp group, just drop either myself, Vicky, or Gemma an email, and we will be able to add you into there. So that's everything from an if only point of view. Now, Alison, are you with us? Ali, are you there? Where's my expert from the office?
I'm here.
Hi, there she is. So this is our favorite part of our presentations, apart from obviously the suppliers, but we absolutely love to do the Ask the Expert. We love to bring somebody else different to myself, Vicky and Gemma. So we've got the lovely Ali. She is our product executive in the office, and you're still in Glasgow at the moment?
I'm in Glasgow. I'm in the office. We've actually got a quiz night happening in the office today, so I'm shut away in one of the smaller offices so that you don't hear all of the hilarity outside.
Oh, fantastic. So we had a lot of questions sent in to us before we obviously went with the webinar for this evening. So me and Ali are going to do a little bit of a question and answer. Now, if there's anything extra that goes into the chat box, we will endeavour to try and answer it now. If not, we'll take it away and we'll come back to you on a personal note. So we're going to start this section. So the first question that we had sent in was best time of year to visit. So when are the best months to travel for safari? Just when is the best time to go?
So, well, like you've already mentioned, Charlotte, it is a year-round destination. There's so much to offer in South Africa, so it really just depends what your clients want to experience while they're there, and you might be taking a few things into consideration to decide. So safari in particular, if you're talking October through to April, in Kruger and Eastern Cape, you can get some high rainfall. So it's really gorgeous time to travel, really lush, really green. The landscapes are amazing. The bird watching is fantastic. It can sometimes make game viewing a little trickier at this point just because the vegetation is so dense. And then from May onwards, you start to enter the dry season. So water sources are drying up, the animals are coming out to try and seek water. So generally from May through to September, you are going to get slightly better game viewing. August and September tend to be the peak months for that. But summer safaris can be great as well because morning drives aren't as chilly, and then during the day you can really enjoy the facilities within your lodge, enjoy the pool, and just spend some time enjoying the nice warm weather. Your morning drives won't be as cold, and yeah, you've just got a different experience. November and December are also when a lot of the young animals are born, so it's a really nice time to go as well. So it just really depends what clients are looking for. May is a great time to visit KwaZulu-Natal, and ideal for visiting Drakensberg Mountains, or staying for a beach stay in that area. And then you've got whale watching, which is really popular, and that's at its best from July through to November. If you travel in November, it's off peak, so you're getting really good value, but you still get that last opportunity to see the whales. And then our winter months are a great time to visit for Cape Town, the Wineland, the Garden Route. Conditions are generally warm and sunny because this is their summer, as we've just discussed.
Yeah, brilliant. Wow. So it is year round, guys. So there's so much on offer. And like I say, when you're contacting one of our sales team, speaking to our experts, they can go through all of this as well with you. So the next question that we got was, this agent gets a lot of inquiries about safari and then a beach. So they usually suggest Mauritius, but is there anywhere in South Africa which would be a good beach destination?
Yeah, I mean, safari and beach is such a popular combination, and Mauritius is a really classic destination to pair safari with from South Africa. There's also really great access to the Seychelles as well. And then if you've got clients that are traveling with Emirates, then Dubai is obviously a good option for a stopover. But within South Africa itself, there are some really great choices. It is a little bit of a different sort of a beach stay from what you get with your kind of classic all-inclusive resorts that you get on the islands, but loads and loads to offer. So you've got, for example, Thunder Beach Lodge, which is on the northern coast of KwaZulu-Natal. That offers full board with activities. A really great time to visit here is November to February, where you've got the opportunity to see the leatherback and logger-haired turtles coming up to lay their eggs. So that's a really great experience. it is about, you fly into Durban, it's about a 4-hour, 40-minute transfer. So we do suggest an overnight Schlanga as part of that as well. And that's a combination that we can chat through with you whenever you've got these sorts of inquiries. The Western Cape, you've got some really nice options for beaches as well. So you've got Grutbos and Hermanus, which has got really amazing land-based whale watching, like I said, from July through to November. It's not quite on the beach, but it's got really amazing views over the ocean from the lodge. And again, loads of activities, horse riding, walks, mountain biking, loads of really nice options there. And then you've got the Hoop National Park as well, which is also a really nice option for people that want to experience some beach. So there's good choices. It's really about what the clients are after. It's all, there's really beautiful, relaxing options, the way that you would get in any of your Indian Ocean resorts, but they also really cater towards all of the amazing activities that are in the area and just embracing all of the local nature that you can get in South Africa.
Wow, sounds incredible. Sounds amazing. So the next kind of question that we had was, where would you recommend for a family for safaris, and kind of what age group do families travel to South Africa to go on safari?
Yeah, so we've had quite a few people asking about that. I mean, we do luckily have two of our fabulous partners on tonight that have both got great options for family safaris. So Chitwa Chitwa and Shamwari, they've both got some amazing options for families. So I will leave them to chat through the options a little bit more and give you some more inspiration for that. There can be variations in the lodges on what age children are permitted. So again, depending on what the clients are looking for and what age their families are, there are certain recommendations that we would make. Nigel and Julie will update you fully on their properties. Something just to bear in mind as well, if you do have families that are travelling with children and they are a little bit nervous or cautious, is the Eastern Cape and Madikwe are both malaria free. So that's always quite a nice option to consider for families also.
Fantastic. And the next question we had was, what is it like to self-drive in South Africa?
Yeah, it's a great destination for self-driving, and it's something that I think we'll see a lot of from our programme. You drive on the same side of the road as the UK, particularly for people that want to do the Wineland and the Garden route. It's just such an easy way of doing it. The roads are really well maintained, really well signposted, and quite often when you're self-driving, you'll kind of come across little hidden gems, cellar doors, local farms, places that you can stop off at and have a really nice authentic experience. Any self-drive packages, we'll provide detailed driving directions with the documentation to make it really straightforward for your clients. There are some areas for accessing some of the reserves or going into the mountains where we would recommend a private transfer or a 4x4. But again, our team will be happy to discuss the best options, just depending on the specifics of the itinerary with the clients.
Brilliant, thank you. And then the next question was kind of best game private reserves for those clients who want special upmarket service and drinks with food. Well, that's all we're going to offer.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's difficult to go to South Africa and not get amazing food and drink no matter where you go, to be honest. So you're kind of spoiled for choice. With the safari lodges, they all tend to have just fabulous options, and obviously the higher the standard you go, the better that you're going to get. One that I thought I would just have a little mention to, because it's something that's a little bit different. One of our featured reserves that we have is a property called Swallow, which is in the Kalahari, and they've got an amazing restaurant called Klein Jan. So the chef here has got a Michelin star restaurant in Nice, and he's chosen to open his second location within Swallow, and it's a really immersive dining experience. So you start off in the root cellar, and then throughout the evening you travel through different rooms within the farmhouse, having each course in a different room, and you end up on the rooftop. So the food is amazing, the menu is so inspired, and it's also been named one of the top 40 most beautiful restaurants in the world by Condé Nast. So that is something that's just a little bit different. But yeah, just really just worth bearing in mind as to how amazing the food and wine is throughout South Africa, how incredible the value for money is. It's all about freshness, farm to fork, the quality is everywhere. And it's obviously such a big part of your trip and why people travel there. And the value of the rand to the pound it just really enables guests to have such fabulous opportunities, such fabulous experiences with food and drink.
No, that's fantastic. And again, just nodding to the fact that it is such great value for money to travel over to South Africa. So our next question was, what is the difference between Kruger and Greater Kruger National Park?
Yeah, so it's fairly straightforward, but probably gets mixed up a little bit. So Kruger National Park is managed by the South African National Parks, whereas Greater Kruger National Park is the private reserves, which are located to the west of this. So most of the properties that we will be featuring are going to be within Greater Kruger. There is no fences, so the movement of the game is completely free between the areas. But for a more intimate safari experience, we would recommend Greater Kruger because there's a limited number of visitors permitted. So it's just a bit more of a, you're not going to have crowds, you don't have people turning up as much. It's more regulated. So that's generally what we would recommend.
No, fantastic. So cruise is very topical at the moment, and we've had someone ask, will we be offering South Africa cruise and stay program?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we do cruise in all of our destinations, so South Africa will not be any different. We do have a little nod to it in our new brochure, which will be with you soon, where we've got a really nice Azamara South Africa cruise featured, and yeah, definitely we'll be able to do lots of cruise and stay options around Africa.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And then I had a question come in, and we were asked if we can add Rovos Rail to our tailor-made packages.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an iconic part of any South Africa programme, and 100% it fits our programme so well. It's luxury, it's a beautiful experience. Initially, we are just launching South Africa, so it will, well, South Africa with a little add-on to Victoria Falls if anybody wants it. So the Pretoria to Cape Town, Durban and Vic Falls itineraries will all be part of the programme initially. But if you do have any inquiries for any of the longer journeys, then please to still contact us, because although we're launching with South Africa, the demand that you guys have is going to help determine how we develop destinations. So please feel free to contact us if you do have any robust inquiries for any of the journeys that we have.
We're already growing the programme and we're not even yet on sale. Okay, so the next question was also rail focused. So we wanted to know if we can package a trip that includes the, and I'm going to probably say this wrong, Sheltie train?
Yes, so it's not a train, it's carriages. So okay. Yes, we can, and we will be able to sell this. So it's a really unique product in Kruger, and we would recommend doing it combined with a traditional safari stay. So it's, yeah, basically safari on a rail carriage. We would recommend doing 2 nights there and then 2 nights in maybe one of the Sabi Sand reserves, suited really towards either younger clientele or people that just want something a little bit unique. It's very kind of Instagrammable. So yeah, just like somebody looking for something a wee bit different. But yeah, 100% we'll be able to offer it. It is in Kruger as opposed to Greater Kruger. So just to bear in mind, as mentioned, it will have the restrictions of the Parks Board. But yeah, absolutely something we can do.
Fantastic, good to know. And then my final question, unless we've got any more in the chat box, was they've got this agent's got a client who wants to visit Rook Drift. What's the best way of combining this with Cape Town and a safari?
So the lovely Nigel, who you'll be hearing from shortly, has got a beautiful property in Rockdrift, Fugitive Drift. So that is a great choice for your clients. In regards to combining it with Cape Town and safari, there is loads of options, to be honest. All just depends how long they have in the destination, how much or little driving they'd like to do. So, for example, if you're going to use Cape Town as a gateway, spend a couple of days there. You then have the choice of either self-driving the Winelands and the Garden route to the Eastern Cape, where Julie can put you up in Shinwari for a couple of nights and they can have their game experience there. And then they can fly from Port Elizabeth up to Durban, where they can do the battlefields. Or if they don't want to do the self-drive element of it, they could fly from Cape Town straight to Durban, do the Rockdrift stay, and then you could safari within KwaZulu-Natal. So you could self-drive to Mayoni Private Game Reserve or Isimangaliso Wetlands. We've got a really nice itinerary within the brochure which combines all of this. And it also includes a stay at Thunga Beach Lodge, which was one of the beach properties I mentioned earlier. And this whole area is just really, really diverse. So you can have marine life, you can have wetlands, you've got the big five. So there's lots and lots to do here. And that's all just staying within that region. Or you could do Cape Town, fly to Durban, do your battlefields experience, and then fly from Durban up to Kruger and do one of the lodges up there. So there's plenty of ways to combine that, lots to do, again, all suited to exactly what your clients want. And obviously the great thing about the programme is that we can just curate any itineraries to suit exactly what they're looking to do. So we're just here to tailor make what you're looking for.
Incredible. Do you know, it sounds amazing, and we are so excited to have this joining our program on the 28th of November. So Alison, before we see you go, I'm just going to check the chat box. If
we have got questions in the chat box.
Okay, now obviously I did nod to the fact at the beginning that we might not know the answers to some of these questions, so we might have to come back to you. Obviously we do have a few South African specialists with us this evening, so they might be able to help us a little bit, but I'm just gonna just scroll to the top and just check what we've covered.
I can go through them if you want, Charlotte.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, not a problem. So Annika's just said that she's had that exact inquiry that we were just discussing, so that's really exciting for her to hear that we can obviously offer that.
And if she waits till the 28th.
Yeah, so we've had a question here about out of date range, Alison. Will we be offering out of date range for South Africa, and how far out of date range would we be able to offer if we do?
Yeah, I mean, the out-of-date range will just be as per the policy that we've got for all of our other destinations. So, I mean, I don't actually work in sales, so I'm not 100% sure what that is, but I do know that we definitely do it. And we can obviously follow up with the specifics of that. But yeah, we offer out-of-date range, so it will be very similar to what we already do for other destinations with regards to that.
Perfect, thank you. John was asking about the Shalita train as well in Kruger, so that's great that we've covered that. So Zoe has asked a big question here. So she's asking, although we don't launch till the 28th, are they able to call through for quotes if they have an inquiry now?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. We obviously are really excited. We're geared up, we're ready to go. So from the product side of things, which obviously which is where I am, we've got everything set up from the back end. All our partners are in place. We're all ready to go. Yeah, the 28th is the official launch date. But yeah, if you do have any inquiries, then do feel free to send them through to us now.
And we've got Alison recorded saying that.
Kirsty's
really good inquiries.
Kirsty's just mentioned about self-drives, and she said the clients on the garden route to look out for the huge natural sleeping beauty. Do you happen to know what that is?
No.
No, that's fine.
Do you want me to help you out? Sorry, do you want me to help you out? It's only because my husband's from Cape Town, hence my very odd surname. So it's a natural formation. It's near Ribbonsdale. It literally, if you look to the left as you're driving from Cape Town towards like Mossel Bay towards Port Elizabeth, it's actually a huge concave in the rocks, and it literally looks like a natural slab. You Google it, you'll find it. But it's really worthwhile kind of pointing out, because if you're driving or getting a coach or whatever, it's quite a nice thing just to kind of pick up on.
The fantastic thing is we've got an amazing ground handler that we work with in South Africa who are bursting full of all of expert knowledge, and they always point out like really useful bits of information and great facts for us to share when we're getting our documentation and everything through. So I'm sure anything like that we'll be able to highlight as well, which is fab.
Thank you so much, Kirsty, for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
I love how we get so involved in these evenings. They're brilliant.
And would you have the information, Ali, about the airlines we're going to be using initially?
We don't have any restrictions on airlines, so we won't use charters the way that we don't with any other destination. But yeah, we've got ticket and plates in place with all of the airlines that we would be used for South Africa. So yeah, there won't be any issues with that. So.
Thank you. And there's just another question about out-of-date range, but I don't think Ali will be able to answer because she's not sales. So we'll look into that and we'll come back to you on that, Annika. And that's, here we go. There's more questions about out-of-date range. We do love an out-of-date range.
Yes.
So any questions on that, myself and Charlotte will look into, and we'll go to the sales team and come back to you on answers on the out-of-date range questions. We're not going to put Ali under the spotlight on that part.
Definitely not.
So I think that covers the questions in the chat. Obviously, if anybody thinks of any during the call that we've not covered that will go to Alison, then let us know and we can pop them to her in an email and let you know on that side. So back over to you, Charlotte.
You will all be seeing South Africa in the new If Only brochure coming very, very soon for the first time, which we're very excited about.
Yes, we're so excited. It's going in the main brochure as well. So we've been holding off on the new Journeys brochure to ensure that we could have the South Africa programme put into there. So we're so excited to have 2 new brochures out to the market. So Alison, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for our Ask the Expert section, and we'll be in touch if we've got anything else.
Thank you. Bye.
Enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the quiz.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
So we're now going to hand over to Mary. Mary is going to talk to us about her property in Cape Town. I'm very excited. She's going to share her screen and take us all the way through this. And as normal throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, please do just let us know. And we will answer them at the end of this section. So very exciting. And tonight we actually do have 2 nights to stay at this hotel up for grabs in our interactive quiz at the end of the evening. So make sure you're listening because there will be some questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I hope everyone can see my screen. It should be shared. I'd just like to obviously first of all introduce myself. I am Mary Kate. I'm based at the beautiful Mount Nelson Hotel in Cape Town. And then I also have my colleague Manisha, who's on this call. She's based in our office in London. So sort of any local inquiries you can direct to Manisha. But if you do have anyone that's coming onto property, we've got a huge focus on all of your special requests for clients. So please send anything through to me if you have any questions after the webinar as well. So in terms of the Mount Nelson, we were the first hotel to be built in Cape Town. We are based right in the city centre of the beautiful mother city. We've got incredible shops, restaurants, bars, all within walking distance of the property. I know that we were chatting a little bit about the restaurant at the Tswalu property called Jan. He has also opened a beautiful restaurant in Kloof Street, which is just on our doorstep. Recently voted one of the coolest streets in the world. He's got an innovation studio there where guests are able to go and sort of taste the items before they actually land up on the menu at his other restaurants. So like I mentioned, the property is based right in the cultural heart of the city. So you've got incredible activities to do right on the doorstep of the hotel. We're based on 9 acres of ground and we've got 7 accommodation wings in total. So we've got Kloof Street over here on the right-hand side, which is, like I mentioned, the main sort of shopping area. And then we have the main entrance down at the bottom over here, which is takes you down into the company gardens, which is home to some of Cape Town's best art galleries. We actually have over 30 art galleries within a walking distance of the hotel. So quite a lot to do in terms of culture. So basically what happened in Cape Town is that the hotel was built just over 120 years ago. We have the main building in the center over here. And essentially, we've got 9 acres of beautiful gardens, which are the main sort of selling point and the main attribute to the property. The city has very much expanded around us over the last 120 years. So it is very much sort of a neighborhood feeling. We are completely surrounded by a residential area. So your guests are completely submerged into the local Cape Townian culture, which we call it in the city. The hotel has gone through a series of renovations over the last couple of years. The last structural renovation was done in 2017. We have 198 bedrooms in total. We've got a couple of our standard rooms on the top 2 images over here, which are our deluxe rooms, usually about 42 square meters in size. Because the hotel is a heritage building, not all of our rooms are identical, which again makes preferences sort of very important at the hotel. So if your clients do require step out balconies, twin beds, if you've got all of that information, if you can send it directly onto us and we can assist you with allocating all of the different rooms. I know there were a couple of questions about families as well. We've got 4 family suites on property that can accommodate 2 adults and 2 kids on a pull-out sofa. And then majority of our deluxe rooms have the capability to interlead into each other as well as split into twin beds. So quite a lot of flexibility on property. And then our cottages, these are actually some of my favorite rooms on property. They've also been incredibly popular since sort of the new COVID way of traveling. We've got beautiful private gardens in front of each of these cottages, private courtyards as well, so we can experience all of the outdoor dining, beautiful weather that Cape Town has. They were original homes that were converted into hotel rooms. So what we like to say at the Mount Nelson is that we are very much a home away from home, and these rooms really do give that experience to our guests. If your guests are traveling during sort of peak safari season, which is Cape Town winter, the winter doesn't get too cold in Cape Town. It's usually a minimum of about 9 degrees in the evenings. We do, however, have fireplaces because us Cape Townians find that incredibly cold. So there are fireplaces in each of these where guests are able to sort of cozy up and watch maybe some Netflix or some of our movies that we've got. And then moving on to a bucket list item when clients are coming to Cape Town. We were speaking about the food and beverage that we have in the mother city as well as all around South Africa. When guests are coming to Cape Town, our afternoon tea is an absolute must-do. It's one of the only teas in Africa that we've got over 70 varietals of tea on the menu. We have 2 tea sommeliers who will do a tasting and a pairing with your clients. And then the food items are served in 3 courses. So we have a savory course that goes out on tiered stands. We have scones, very traditional English scones that follow that. And then we also have our beautiful sweet items that come out on a mix of, we've got the tiered stands as well as a beautiful cake buffet where you can go up to the chef and choose a couple of cakes that are served to the table. It is very important to pre-book this because it is an incredibly popular experience. Another great thing about the hotel is that we have a lot of locals that come through to the hotel. So again, very much sort of immersed in the local culture. We have people that come through and celebrate baby showers, bridal showers, very significant birthday parties. So it's an incredible experience. I also like to say that the food in South Africa is very much sort of a melting pot of cultures. We have 11 national languages in the country. So you can imagine all of the different melting pots of cultures that go on. I think that is best represented in the food that we have. Our Planet Bar is one of the best places to sit on a summer evening, sipping some beautiful South African sparkling wine or some Chenin Blanc, which is very popular in South Africa, and enjoying some of our sort of Indian experiences that we have. South Africa actually has the highest population of Indians outside of the country of India. So that is very much sort of represented in the food that we have over here. It's a really great option for an arrival night, very casual, very laid back, and just a beautiful spot to be. Our chef's table. So this is a dining experience that's available in the heart of the kitchen. We can seat a maximum of 12 guests, but we can go all the way down to sort of a single diner. We've got a lot of requests for single diners lately. So we have sort of a bar counter that overlooks, and this on the left-hand side would essentially be your view. I always like to say that it's a little bit like a dinner and a show where your guests are very much entertained by the chefs. It's a very interactive experience. And then it is served with a beautiful wine pairing as well. Again, it does take you through all of the different cultures that we have in South Africa. So it's a food journey sort of around the areas, the different culinary spots. Our chef has a huge focus on sustainability as well. So for instance, our fish that we get into the restaurant, it's ordered through an app. So the small scale fishermen bring their catch in at about 5 o'clock in the morning. It gets loaded onto the app. Chef then goes on and chooses exactly what he wants. And that is delivered directly to the hotel. So you couldn't get sort of any fresher than that. And again, when he says sort of things like on our menu that say we serve grass-fed beef, he's literally been to those farms and he's seen the cows sort of grazing. So sustainability is one of our biggest factors at the property. Our breakfast restaurant was the most recent renovation that we've done. This was in 2019. Got a beautiful terrace that overlooks onto the main swimming pool over here. And you'll start to see sort of the space that we've got on property that the hotel is most well known for. Our picnics were a relatively new addition to the property. We introduced this during sort of the first hard lockdowns that we had in Cape Town, and I think we didn't really have to do too much marketing for this. Our social distancing did that for us. So we've got incredible space on property where guests are able to enjoy these. You can see our main lawns down here at the bottom. If guests have booked cottages, we can serve these in the privacy of their cottages, around the fountain, which is the original main entrance of the property, and then also around the swimming pools. We've also got a huge focus on wellness at the hotel. We're the only property in Cape Town to have 2 floodlit tennis courts. One of them, we've actually recently added a paddle court or a padel court, depending on which part of the world you come from. So that's sort of a 4-walled court, similar. It's almost a combination between squash and tennis. So that's available for all of the hotel guests. Like I mentioned, we've got a couple of different options in terms of swimming pools. We've got our main family-friendly swimming pool over here on the right-hand side. A lot of space, as you can see, where it's perfect for kids to be kids, sort of unplugging them when they're coming on holiday, enjoying all of the outdoor space. We also have a kids club that's available on property, which is on a complimentary basis for all of the kids staying at the hotel. And then for those guests on honeymoon or just wanting a very quiet vacation, we have our adults only swimming pool with the cottages that are just behind that. So just a very quiet vacation, beautiful views of Table Mountain from both of the swimming pools. And then we were talking a little bit about beach holidays. So Cape Town is an incredible destination for beaches. We do have a bit of a cold ocean, so we do require wetsuits when we are going in to see all of the sharks that surround the coastline of Cape Town. One of the biggest focuses that Belmont has at the moment is our experiences. One of the incredible experiences that we've put together is what we call be a marine biologist for the day. There was a documentary that was filmed just off the coast of South Africa called My Octopus Teacher, which actually won an Oscar for Best Documentary. It's available on Netflix if anyone wants to watch it. And this takes guests through sort of an experience. They meet up with Justin Blake over here. He's a shark scientist, so he studies the movements of the great white sharks just off the coast. And guests are able to sort of learn about the different marine animals, and all of the proceeds of this actually go back to Justin's foundation. It's called the Rock Hopper Foundation. So it's a completely non-profit initiative for us, and it's an incredible learning experience for our guests. What we've done with that is that we've sort of elevated it to the next level because it was incredibly popular with all of our guests. So what we've done with this is guests are able to actually take a helicopter out for the day. So they are picked up in Cape Town. They are taken out to Hermanus, which I think we mentioned a little bit earlier. It is sort of the whale viewing area. The ideal time of year to do this would be from around July until end of November, when the whales are sort of most active in the area. The helicopter that gets taken out is a research helicopter, so they are able to fly into different areas where normal helicopters are not able to fly. They get to go very close to the ocean and actually have a very great viewing point of the whales. And then that is also paired with a wine tasting experience in a valley called the Hemel and Aarde Valley, which is in Afrikaans, it means heaven and earth. We've got a beautiful the Creation Wine Farm, which is out in that region. So guests are able to have an incredible lunch wine tasting. They don't have to worry about self-driving back to Cape Town after the wines. They take the helicopter back safely, straight back to the Mount Nelson. And then talking about wines, as you can see, we're quite passionate about it in Cape Town. We have our Wild Winelands experience, which is another experience where guests are picked up from the Mount Nelson in these beautiful open top Jeeps over here, taken through to the Constantia wine region, and that's about a 20-minute drive from the city of Cape Town. So it's one of the closest wineries, wine regions to the city. And their guests are able to go into some of the smaller, less commercial wine farms that we have. They're taken to meet the winemakers and the blenders, and getting to view parts of the wineries that are not open to the public, that are only accessible to the guests that are staying at Mount Nelson. There they're able to sort of blend their own wines, and the entire experience is made around specifically their sort of preferences of wine. So if someone loves a Cabernet Sauvignon, they'll be able to go through the vineyards, taste the grapes before fermentation, and blend their own wine. And then just a couple of other sort of updates from the region. One of the biggest at the moment is definitely our air access. It has been one of the biggest sort of challenges throughout COVID, but Virgin has actually started flying again with their seasonal flight that comes into Cape Town. So that started on the 5th of November. So that's definitely opening things up. And we do still have a little bit of availability for festive season. New Year's Eve is fully booked, but we do have a bit of space over Christmas. So if anyone's wanting to sort of take a break from your European winters, we have a lot of sun in Cape Town. And that's my quick 20 minutes. goes by so quickly.
It does. It really, really does. So, Vicky, you've been keeping an eye on our chat box, and Manisha, thank you so much. You've been answering questions and putting comments in. So it's so lovely to have somebody else there. So, Vicky, have we got any questions in here that haven't been replied to that we can maybe get them answered?
There's only one about the shredding that's happening at the moment, but I think that's probably something we'll cover off to the agents via email, unless you have any information on that.
Yep. So it is, unfortunately, at the moment we are affected by load shedding, but you'll find that a lot of the bigger sort of establishments in Cape Town have generators. A lot of people have gone sort of off the grid as well. So people who are not familiar with load shedding, it's a bit of the energy crisis that we have going on around the world with South Africa. So we have a schedule that essentially some of the we don't have electricity for certain hours. But for instance, the Mount Nelson has a complete generator that switches over automatically. A lot of the bigger restaurants in and around would also be able to run off generators.
They're all set up to deal with it, aren't they?
Yes.
Now? So, we've had another question from John. How far is Mount Nelson from the V&A?
So we're a 10-minute drive from the V&A waterfront. We do offer shuttles that go down to the V&A. So if guests are wanting to go down, for instance, to Robben Island, so that's the main access point to Robben Island, we can assist with shuttles. A beautiful spot for shopping. There's incredible shops down there as well. It is a little bit more sort of commercial, sort of your bigger, a lot of the LVMH brands that are down there. There's a beautiful watershed that has shopping as well. But just to bear in mind that it does get incredibly busy down at the waterfront, and what the Mount Nelson is very much known for is our space that we have. So allowing guests to go down for the afternoon, do beautiful shopping, have go down to Robben Island, and then come back to a complete oasis right in the city centre, which is Mount Nelson.
That sounds perfect. There's lots of comments about how amazing it looks and how lovely it is. So that's great to hear. And I love the comments. We pair everything with wine or champagne at the Belmond. I do love that, Manisha. So that's perfect. But that's the comments at the moment. If anyone has any as well, we can always send them over to Mary, and they can come back to us and we can email them over afterwards with our follow-up. So any questions you think of while the rest of the presentation is happening, do let us know. So, Charlotte, have we got Nigel next?
Yes, we have.
Lovely, so. Nigel.
Hello,
if you want to pop up your presentation.
Just do that.
There we go, see? Perfect.
I was going to curse us in and say we do love it when it goes smoothly, but we've still got the rest of the call to go. So, yeah.
It's going so well. Don't jinx it yet.
Don't jinx it, don't say a word. Now, can you see red birds?
We can see them beautiful red birds. They are stunning.
Okay, fantastic. Great.
Thank you.
Right, guys, thanks so much for being there. So I'm going to talk about 3 properties: Chitwa Chitwa, Fugitives Drift, which is Rorke's Drift that someone kindly asked about, and Fairview House, Plettenberg. So that gives you a beach option. But starting with Chitwa Chitwa. So good, they named it twice. I mean, the UK is the biggest market worldwide for Chitwa Chitwa, and it's in the Sabi Sands. So the Sabi Sands is right on the border of Kruger, and I'll show you a map of that. And essentially it's a group of private lodges that give people the best game viewing in South Africa. It's Big Five game viewing. For those who don't know, Big Five are rhino, elephant, buffalo, lion, and leopard. And they were the most dangerous animals to hunt of old by the hunters. So it's Big Five game viewing, and that'll be a tick for lots of people. So why is Chitwa Chitwa so popular in the UK? First up, it's owner run, which is fantastic, which means it's stable. They're there, third generation, they live there the whole time. It's also right on the shoreline of the largest lake in the Sabi Sands. And with this lake, all the animals, all the wildlife comes to the property. So you can literally be in the property, look out, and it's all happening in front of you. Very good for people who may be in wheelchairs or for the elderly who can't get out. It's a perfect place for that. It has 67%, nearly 70% of all the hippo in the Sabi Sands are there in front of the lodge. It's only 7 suites, so it's very small, but I'm going through all the reasons why the Brits love it. 7 suites, and it's also very, very good value. It's often trades at 40% lower than equivalent 5-star properties in the Sabi Sands. So it's in the quiet eastern area. So what you see here is this is a grouping of private properties, and you'll know some of the names. And to the east of it is Kruger National Park. And Chitwa Chitwa has this joint traversing area in the quiet eastern area. And you can access it from Cape Town, from Joburg, directly into Hoedspruit, and then from there, it's a charter flight or scheduled flight into their drive area called Arethusa Airstrip. And then from there, it's a game drive, a 20-minute game drive to the property. So it's easy access from all the destinations, but many people twin it with Cape Town and Joburg. So here's the style of it. It's for your urban funksters, much like you out there. It's quite vibey. It's very different. I mean, who else has giant jellyfish lampshades in their sitting room come dining room? So it's very, very cool. It's not for your traditionalists looking for a green canvas tent. You know, it's not for the snodgrasses, you know, looking for that kind of old school feel. But it's a wonderfully unique property in that sense. Each of the suites there are only 7 of them, just to remind you, are totally individual, totally different in design, all have a private pool, and just all have a very, very different feel to them. And repeaters, we get many, many repeaters, they favor their particular room. This is one of the rooms that's only half the size. To the right of the fire, you've got this giant sitting room, and to the left of that mirror, you've got a bathroom plus then an outside shower. And as I say, you can literally just lie in bed, peek over your duvet, and you'll see all the wildlife in front of you as it comes into the lake. Value for money, exceptional value for money. As I say, it trades in lower than most other comparable 5-star wildlife properties in Sabi Sands. All ages are welcome. So children are, you know, totally welcome. Families, it's a big deal for families. And not many places actually in the Sabi Sands accept children of all ages, but all ages are welcome at Chitwa Chitwa, and you've got nannies. They can go out on walks. You can be with them or not be with your children, depending if you like them. But all the options are there. They've got a very good family suite, 2 ensuite rooms, big, large rooms, private pool. As I say, all the rooms have a private pool. And then they've also got a private house that I'll tell you about later. But families are really encouraged. And I love Chitwa Chitwa because it's so creative. I mean, I don't know anywhere else in Africa that has converted a Land Rover into a pizza truck. So at the end of your game drive, evening game drive, traditionally you have a sundowner where the sun goes down and you have a drink of choice. You know, you won't just have popcorn with that drink, you'll have a full margarita or something else. Actually, it's worth just talking about the day, an average day on safari. So you get up early before the heat, probably you'll be off at about 6 o'clock. Then you come back for breakfast, and then the day is yours at the lodge, you know, pool, spa here, and then you'll go out in an afternoon, after afternoon tea, you'll go out on the game drive, probably about 4 o'clock, and then come back for dinner at about 7 o'clock, having had a sundowner out. But the hosting is wonderfully creative. It's all over the place. I mean, you'll be driving around and then you'll be surprised by a great kind of bush dinner out in the bush, and multiple kind of dining options. There's a Boma, famously in South Africa, you have these kind of Boma evening dinners, and Chitwa do a wonderful version of that. And as I said, there's a private house as well. So for those multi-gens, private groups, you've got private dining and private vehicle, private guide, private everything in the private house. So that's the first of 3 properties, Chitwa. And as I say, UK is the biggest market worldwide. Multi-repeaters, just finding space can, you know, that's the key. Here's the final shots of the private house. Next up, Fugitives Drift, and someone was asking about Rorke's Drift, and in case you don't know, we've probably all seen the film Zulu. It'll be on again at Christmas after lunch and a few sherries. You'll settle down to Michael Caine charging around. This is actually where it happens, and it's unique in. I mean, they started living history tours in South Africa, very famously the Rattray family. I mean, Prince Charles comes here, Max Hastings, all kinds of kind of celebs come here. But I want to stress from the beginning, you don't need to be a military nut to enjoy it. You can be either sex, any age. So it appeals to everyone. It's a very emotionally engaging story about the 2 battles. Again, it's owner run. It's a 3.5-hour due north drive from Durban on the coast, and then it's a 4.5-hour drive down from Joburg. So to answer someone else's question, South Africa is brilliant for self-driving, or you can be driven, but it's very safe just to, you know, drive yourself. So here you go. That's the film that you'll probably watch again this Christmas. And then they've got 3 properties essentially. You've got the lodge, which is the main one. You can see the price down at the bottom and divide that by 20 to get the pound rate. Very good value, which we all need at the moment, you know, with the weakness of the pound. So South Africa is exceptional value. So you've got the lodge, then you've got Harford Library, which is a wonderful kind of open area with views over to the battlefields. And then the guest house, slightly more affordable, set about 10 minutes away from the lodge. Then you've got Umzinyathi, it's a private cottage. It's you can take it over exclusively, or you can have your meals in the lodge. And it's the same, it's a replica of a Victorian cottage, exactly the same, just better plumbing. And they do a kind of a horrid history style experience for children. So again, families absolutely welcome. But it's a shorter kind of talk. It's they can pick up an assegai or a Henry Martini rifle, and it's tailored just for the children. And in addition to the battlefields, you've got fishing, you've got helicopter trips, very good plains game there. It's in its own wildlife reserve, so it's not just battlefields, but as I say, it's many people leave in tears having been on these battlefields. It's a walking, talking, living history tour, and if you haven't done it, it's far from an old, dry, dusty history lesson. Then, lastly, Plettenberg. It's a sister property to Fugitives Drift. It's owned by the same family, the Rattray family. And they built this, they've owned the actual property, 68 acres, private acres, it's an estate. They've owned it since the 70s, but they built this lodge, opened it in February 2020, just before COVID, sadly. But it's in Plettenberg, or just outside Plettenberg. And for those who don't know the garden route, you will have heard the garden route. Plettenberg is almost bang in the middle of the garden route. And Fairview House is a 10-minute drive northeast of Plettenberg in its own 68 acres. It's fantastic because Plettenberg has a great beach and you can go to the beach. Someone was asking about a beach option in South Africa. So you can go to the beach, but then you can come away from the busyness of the beach, particularly in high season, and have your own kind of private 68-acre estate here. Here you've got whale watching, wine tours, there are wildlife sanctuaries, canoeing, riding, cycling, all kinds of activities. And it's midway. So what people would often do is stay in Cape Town, stay at Mount Nelson, go and see a wine farm or stay in the winelands, and then drive. I would say west to east is better because you're not driving into the sun. Drive the garden route, stopping off on the way, and then ending at Port Elizabeth. And then from there you can fly on maybe to Durban, up to Rorke's Drift, and then combine it with Chitwa Chitwa in the Sabi Sands. But it's a wonderful owner-run, 8-bed, small boutique, beautiful property that's fresh out of the box. I was there in May. Stunning property, and run by Andrew and Anel Rattray. Great chefs, great hosts, and good value. We keep going on about value, but it is exceptional value. And you can see the rooms here, just beautifully, a nice combination of kind of classic and some modern colours, modern tones. So that's the view from the balcony, and that is it for Southern Africa. Well, for Fugitives and Chitwa Chitwa and Fairview House. Do we take questions now, or what do you reckon?
Yes, we do. So Vicky, you're my chat box checker.
I am here. To be honest, I think everybody's so in awe of the pictures and the imagery that everyone's just put in about how beautiful it is and amazing. And there's a lot of questions and fam trips. Fam trips.
We've got amazing mates rates, and I know we've got this kind of great prize, but additionally to that, we've got incredible mates rates that are, I mean, you'd be muppets not to use them. Seriously, they're so good. Just let me know, or just let Ali know, or Charlotte, or someone, or Vicky, and then we can get them to you. But please come and stay, because unless you actually see it, it's very hard to really grasp it. So please use them.
Me and Charlotte are packing our bags already.
Yeah, we've actually been WhatsApping each other during the session going, okay, so we need to go now. So I'm loving the mate rates, and I think everybody else will be absolutely loving that as well, which is incredible.
Yeah, they're all up for mates rates, absolutely.
That's why we're in travel. We don't make a fortune, but you've got to travel for free.
Absolutely.
Free. Did you just say for free? Have we got that recorded?
No, I think the line broke up then. Well, you can if you win the prize, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Oh, so we have had a question come in now, Vicky. An actual serious question here.
Oh, go on, serious. Okay.
Are you doing it, Charlotte? Shall I?
You can do it, please.
So,
that's a good question. Okay.
You mentioned Chitwa Chitwa. Is it great for mobility challenged?
At Fugitive
Drift. Same for the Fugitive Drift. How are they for mobility?
Not as good. No, not as good. I mean, they do have a lot of ex-servicemen there. In fact, it used to be part of the British Army kind of officer training that they would go here and learn about strategy. And so they do have quite a lot of veterans, but there are steps. I mean, I've got a cousin who's in a wheelchair. We would take him. In fact, we're probably going to take him, but it's carrying. It's a bit more carrying. You can do it, but it's not as easy as Chitwa.
Okay. And Chitwa is quite accessible, is it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking as you come. I mean, there are a couple of steps, but again, there are always willing staff to pick a chair up. There aren't any. If you're fully quadriplegic, yeah, there aren't any wheel-in bathrooms. So it's not. If you're looking for that, I know Mala Mala, which we used to market. Mala Mala has a very good, fully accessible bathroom.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, pleasure.
We've also had another question from John. How far is Chitwa Chitwa from Hazy View?
Oh my God, John, who's in South Africa? Who'll know? Mary, you'll know that. I don't know.
Here we go, Mary's here.
I'm not actually 100% sure.
Help me out.
That's one we'll take.
I'm in Cape Town.
Google Map it.
Yeah, someone Google Map it, please. I could, yes.
From Hazy View to the Sabi Sands entrance gate will take you probably about 45 minutes.
Oh, it's close, Julie, thank you. Get out of jail card, thank you. And then from there, from that gate, from Gowrie Gate, which is the northern gate, it's about an hour's game drive, but a leisurely kind of game drive. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
Ayla.
you. And I think that's the questions covered there again. If anyone again has any questions that they haven't had time to put on now, please do let us know and we can put them to Nigel. I'm sure there'll be lots of emails coming your way about mates rates after those comments. So perfect. So Julie, I'm going to share your slides. Nigel, will you just stop sharing for me so I can put mine up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Do that.
And everybody, don't forget that the properties we've just all seen and we've been talking about mates rates, we've got a great prize where you can actually win to stay there. So we're very excited about that. So we're now going on to Julie's presentation. So Julie's going to talk to us about the Shamwari Private Game Reserve and a few more areas. So we're really excited for this. Now, Vicky is the chief clicker for this section. So Julie's going to obviously do all the talking and the lovely Vicky is going to take us through the slides. So over to you, Julie.
Hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us this evening. It's really exciting that iPhone is launched in South Africa. It's not a difficult destination to sell. Once you've experienced it, it's dead easy. And you can tell from all of us, we're very, very passionate. Shamwari Private Game Reserve is located in the Eastern Cape. It was established 30 years ago in October. And I'm actually going to show my age and tell you that I remember when Adrian Gardner announced he was going to take up a whole lot of agricultural land and turn it into a game reserve. And everybody in South Africa laughed at him and said, it'll never work. Well, he really proved them wrong, because quite frankly, now they have created an environment which is as good an experience as the Sabi Sands lodges, which is quite a thing to have achieved. The lodge itself, there's a number of lodges located in the reserve. Your closest airport is Port Elizabeth Airport. And if you are doing the garden route as a self-drive, you'd probably start off in Cape Town, make your way through Knysna, Plettenberg Bay, and then on to Shamwari. From Port Elizabeth Airport, it's about a 45-minute drive to the gate, to the Welcome Lounge, and then you're met there by the representatives of the lodge that you will be staying at. Shamwari is home to 8 different lodges, of which 7 are currently operational. Lobangula is one of the lodges that was closed during COVID, obviously, and they're still trying to make up their mind what they're going to be doing with. So if you have a look at the map, you can see that in terms of air connectivity, we've obviously all had some air connectivity issues in Southern Africa, and that seems to be on the sort of resolution side. So you can fly from Cape Town into Port Elizabeth. You can also fly from Johannesburg into Port Elizabeth. The connections at the moment are not altogether smooth the way they were, but obviously once you speak to reservations, they'll be able to guide you. So if you have a look at the map, you can see the little number 1, which is the Welcome Lounge. And from there, you then board your safari vehicle and basically take a nice leisurely game viewing drive to one of the camps in the reserve. So we'll start off with the Sindile Lodge, and a couple of our lodges that we're going to feature tonight will have a little video presentation with them as well. Home to the Big 5 now, so you will be able to experience the same Big 5 experience that you would in the Sabi Sands. The great thing about the Eastern Cape reserves is that they are malaria free. So if you've got older travelers who've already got buckets of pills and potions, it's one less tablet for them to have to take. The anti-malaria tablets can be a little bit unsettling, shall we say. They're not always very good on the tummies. So our first lodge that we're going to have a look at is Sindile. Sindile opened in 2019, and it's basically a brand new lodge because shortly after it opened, COVID happened and it had to close its doors. So it's pretty much really only started functioning properly this year. It's a campsite that's elevated, so you get really spectacular views of the plains. It's a tented camp, but tents with a bit of a difference. It's not your general camping experience, shall we say. Elevated walkways connecting the general areas to the different lodges, and your public area that you can see on this slide. And then if we go on, you can have a look at the decks. Each lodge has its own little private deck and plunge pool, ensuite bathrooms, and for the adventurous, the outdoor shower. I think if we go on, okay. Longley Manor was the original manor house of the farmlands that formed the original part of Shamwari. Dates back to 1910. A lot of people in South Africa will remember it as being pink when it was originally launched. They've moved away from the pink and have gone much more neutral, earthy tones. It's very much a sort of Edwardian style club feel inside Longley Manor. We find that it's very popular with the UK market. There's Longley Manor, Riverdene and Bayeti are the three most popular camps or lodges within Shamwari with the UK market. Children are accepted at Shamwari. So the minimum age for going out on a game drive is 4 years of age. Younger than that, there are child minding facilities available to look after your children. So Longley Manor, you can take children, and you can see that they have a very Edwardian feel to it, but nice, neutral and modern. Lots of little breakaway places where you can either be a part of whatever's going on as a group activity, or you can sort of seclude yourself to one side. Okay. And that's the communal bar area and lounge area. There's obviously Wi-Fi, etc., right way through the properties. But why you'd want to sit on your phone when you're sitting surrounded by such beautiful nature, I wouldn't know. I think they should lock their phones away. Bayeti. Bayeti means I salute you. And it's probably one of the most popular lodges with the UK market at the moment. It's 12 blended canvas rooms. So basically you've got canvas under thatch. So it's a permanent structure with lots of light, lots of windows, basically allowing your outdoors, indoors. All of the rooms en suite, and obviously with an outdoor shower again. That's one of the features of most safari lodges in Southern Africa. You have the opportunity to shower in the open air. Next coming up is Sirilli.
So I'm a little bit slow showing these images, aren't I?
That's the communal areas. There's Sirilli. It's a 5-bedroom lodge which can be taken either exclusive use or family luxury rooms, taking a total of 10 clients. Sirilli comes with its own house manager, a chef, and personal guide. So you would take over the property exclusively, and you can basically set your own schedules. It's located on the banks of the Bushman River. So if you look through the windows, you get some really stunning views of the water, and obviously your hippo, your elephant, animals coming down to drink, etc. It really is quite spectacular. And then we've got Riverdene. Riverdene is our kids on safari. There are very few safari lodges, as Nigel said, that actually take children, especially children under the age of 12. And Riverdene has been developed basically to accommodate families with young children. So one of the biggest problems when you're on safari and you've got children is, what do you do with them in between game drives? Yes, they probably need a sleep because you're up early and you're out on game drives in the afternoon, but children have a lot of energy that needs to be burnt off. So Riverdene have developed the Kids on Safari program. The accommodation is 9 luxury rooms. A lot of them are all interleading, so 2 rooms are always interleading so that you can put a family together. There are 3 rooms that will create a larger family accommodation as well. But the highlight for Riverdene is the activities that are put on for children. They have their own exclusive outdoor activity center. So they've got climbing frames, jungle gyms, lots of outdoor activities to burn off that energy before you take them out on a game drive. Qualified childminders are available to look after the children, and there are group coordinators that actually put together activities for the kids which are based on environmental and conservation principles. So it's not just a playground, it's a playground where they're actually learning something about the environment that they're in. So they'll learn about insects and the beetles and the trees and how to deal with the climate that they're facing, what kind of plants are good for the climate, what kind of plants are good that don't take up a lot of water, etc. They also have quite a lot of interactive lunches, so the kids get to prepare their own meals. So they sit down and they'll make their own pizzas, put them in the pizza oven, and they'll be served up to them. And obviously the menu caters very much for child's dietary requirements. So mom and dad can have the really super culinary experience. The kids can burn off energy in the Safari Adventure Centre and then have child appropriate meals as well. It really is. We had a client who came back in June of this year, and he raved about the kids on safari experience. He was a little bit nervous about taking his young children with him and came back and said the kids loved it. He struggled to get them out of the adventure centre to go on game drives with them. Then next coming up is Crag. So Eagles Crag is, from its name, you can tell that it's located at a very high elevation, up in a sort of mountainous area, walkways connecting the little pods along the balconies. And Eagles Crag has 9 junior suites, so a maximum of 18. Again, lots of little nooks and crannies where you can curl up with a book or a pair of binoculars and watch the birds, etc. You've also got a nice deck and heated pool for each of the suites. And again, your indoor and outdoor shower experiences. Lots of glass and lots of stone make up Eagles Crag. And it really blends in nicely with the mountainous area that it's located in. And then the final one is Explorer Camp. Explorer Camp is probably my personal favorite because this is safaring as I guess I remember as a child when I was growing up in South Africa. And it's very much a very natural experience. So it operates from October to May. We normally recommend a minimum of 2 nights and then add on a couple of nights at one of the other formal lodges. This is very much back to basics. So your tent is located on a platform. The camp itself is discreetly fenced to protect you from the wildlife that's roaming around, but it's not in your face. You will have to sort of look for it. Very much a personal experience. You don't go out on game drives, you go out on walks. So you spend about 4 hours a day walking. So your minimum age at Explorer Camp is 16, and anybody over the age of 65 would need to provide a doctor's certificate confirming that they are physically fit to participate in the walks and the outdoor activities. But you can see from the photos that it's just an incredible way of getting up really, really close to animals. And I say it's probably one of my favorites because it is very natural. It has plumbing, but very basic plumbing. But you cannot beat the experience of just being out in the bush, hearing the sounds, no electricity, it's all gas and candles, etc. So it really is something very special. But we all say that about the safari lodges. It doesn't matter where they're located. They are very, very special places. Shamwari has been involved with the Born Free Foundation for the last 25 years. So they host 2 sanctuaries on the property for Born Free, as well as the Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre. Now, if you stay at Shamwari for 2 nights or more, you're guaranteed to be able to visit both the Born Free Foundation and the Wildlife Rehabilitation Centre. Both of these facilities are no contact facilities. So although you get to see what is being done and to learn more about the rehab of wounded animals or orphaned animals, you get to hear the backstories of the big cats that have been brought from some really, really tragic circumstances in Europe or the Middle East, and hear about how they get to live out their retirement years now in a very natural experience. Your game drive vehicles, obviously all very well equipped. You can hire photographic safari equipment if necessary. So if you don't want to have your cameras, etc., photographic equipment can be hired at Shamwari. All right, and that's basically covers very, very quickly the 7 camps that are currently operating. The rhino in Shamwari, there's a huge rhino population. I know that some of the properties up in the Sabi Sands have undertaken to dehorn their rhino. Shamwari is not currently going to be dehorning their rhino population, but they are very tight-lipped about how many rhinos they have and where they are located, obviously, to protect them from poaching. But some of the horns on these rhino are incredible, and they've got both black and white rhino, and that's nothing to do with their color. The white comes from the Dutch vate, which means a wide lip, and the black rhino has a smaller hooked lip because of the vegetation that they eat being more thorny and more hardy than the grazing of the white rhino. Questions?
Oh, wow, that was incredible and really quick. And I thought there was going to be a video, so I was waiting for a video to come through. So
there were videos in the original clip, but I think they might have been taken out when you edited.
Oh, there we go, you see. So obviously sometimes we transfer them over and it doesn't always take all of the area. So has anyone got any questions for us? I'm going to have a look in the chat box. We've got some lovely features coming through. A lot of people saying that their children would love it. Let's have a look, see where we've got to.
Still sharing these images, so
there we go. So we've had a few people that have stayed at Shamwari, so that's great. Nigel has asked a question here. So Julie, how do you pronounce, hang on, I'm just going to put it back up to make sure I have not saying it wrong. Here we go. So Nigel would like to know, hang on, my chat box keeps disappearing every time
a new one pops up.
A new one pops up. I'm like, oh no, I've lost it. So Nigel would like to know how you pronounce the new name for Port Elizabeth. Does anyone know how we do that?
I can. I'm going to give it a go.
Go on, Julie.
Go for it.
Kheba. Kheba.
Wow. Okay. How do you spell it? Do you know?
No.
No.
It's lots of Q's and lots of W's.
Fantastic. Craig says that he used to be a flight attendant. He used to raise money for Born Free at Shamwari for many years. So he's always wondered what it was like. So it's been great to share these images and show him and explain about all the incredible lodges that you've got.
There we go. Mary Kate's given us the spelling.
Thank you, Mary. That's great. So somebody's just asked, would you recommend Long Lee or the River Dean best for multi-generation?
For multi-generation, I would definitely say River Dean, because it is very much focused on the family. So there's quiet time, private time for the older generation, and place for the children to get rid of that energy.
And we've got like lots of people saying it's incredible. When can they go? So that's always brilliant. Some people have said it's brought back some incredible memories and how informative it was. So I think we've kind of covered all of those questions. Now is your final time. If you've got any questions relating to our suppliers this evening or to anything that we're going to be doing here at If Only for our South Africa programme, please do pop it in the chat. We will download this at the end of the session and we will get back to every single one of you individually following any questions that you've got. So we are nearly at the end of our evening showcase, but it wouldn't be an If Only showcase if we didn't have a Slido quiz. So if everybody can get their phones ready or open up an internet browser on their laptops, Vicky's going to hopefully share the Slido.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh,
Give me.
Here we go.
So present.